Hello, my name is Scott Minnick, and I'm a meteorologist with the National Weather Service in Wakefield, Virginia. This presentation was put together for the purpose of sharing a spring outlook for the Wakefield forecast area. The forecast area includes central and eastern Virginia, as well as northeast North Carolina and the Maryland Eastern Shore. We will briefly overview winter 2014 before jumping into the spring outlook and what impacts we can expect. I know that we are already a month into meteorological spring and about 2 weeks into calendar spring, but I hope you are still able to find this information useful. First off, we'll take a look at what occurred during meteorological winter 2013-2014 and the conditions leading into spring. Temperatures ended the winter slightly below normal. While the region did experience very cold temperatures, some of the coldest in recent memory, periods of warm temperatures kept the overall winter from being well below normal. Richmond data is displayed on the current slide. The highest temperature recorded during the winter was 76 degrees, and the coldest was 4 degrees. The average temperature finished just outside the top 50 coldest winters. The above image depicts the 90-day mean temperature ending March 1st, 2014. As you can see, much of the western and southeastern U.S. was well above normal, but the eastern two-thirds of the country, outside those lucky in Florida, was below normal. Now taking a look at winter precip, the large image displays the percent of normal precip over the past 90 days, ending on March 1st. While the legend may be difficult to see, the entire region received anywhere from 100 to 150% of normal. Overall, winter was wetter than normal. As the map indicates, there may be a few areas from Franklin to Chesapeake and over the eastern shore that may have dropped a little below normal, but data is limited, but likely those areas remained around normal to above normal. Snowfall was also above normal over much of the area. More specifically, Richmond and Norfolk were both above normal on precip, 3.36 inches and 1.26 inches respectively. For snowfall, Richmond was 1.3 inches above normal, and Norfolk was over 7.5 inches above normal. In fact, Norfolk recorded the 6th highest January total snowfall on record. As a result of above normal precip, drought conditions are not a concern heading into spring. We'll take a more in-depth look at soil conditions in the upcoming slides. Using a practical example of the previous slide, we can look at available soil moisture for vegetation and spring crops. The above image is a crop moisture index by climate division. To put it briefly, it is the short-term need versus the available water in a shallow soil profile. The color legend is at the bottom of the image. Thanks to above normal precip, the soil profile is abnormally moist. This is good news as there is plenty of moisture available for spring planting. However, this could have adverse effects if we get a lot of additional rainfall this spring. We'll take a look at the flooding outlook shortly. Now that we have taken a look at the past winter and some of the current conditions, let's jump into what we can expect this spring. First, we'll take a look at the current conditions and forecast for the ever-important climate driver known as the El Nino Southern Oscillation. Nino 3.4 represents the section of the Pacific Ocean that we look at sea surface temperature anomalies to determine El Nino versus La Nina. Quickly, El Nino is represented by sea surface temperature anomalies greater than plus 0.5 degrees Celsius, and La Nina is represented by sea surface temperature anomalies less than negative 0.5 Celsius. The range from negative 0.5 to positive 0.5 Celsius is called INSO-neutral. For more specific information on INSO, please navigate to the link at the bottom of the slide. The latest model guidance, provided here by the International Research Institute for Climate and Society, shows a general upward model trend. The image on the right depicts this in probabilities. We can say with fairly high confidence that INSO-neutral conditions will persist through the spring. However, chances for El Nino increase this summer and into the fall. The latest expert INSO discussion states, ENSO neutral is expected to continue through Northern Hemispheric spring 2014 with about a 50% chance of El Nino developing during the summer or fall. Combining all the model data and expert opinions, there is high confidence that ENSO neutral conditions will occur throughout the spring. However, high confidence in ENSO neutral produces low confidence on exactly how spring and even in the early summer will pan out, as there is no strong climate indicator. That means we have to focus on short-term climate drivers, such as the North Atlantic Oscillation, and trends that are much more difficult to predict outside of a week or two, especially during the spring. The lack of strong climate signals and patterns that often give us clues as to what the season will bring has proven quite difficult. However, the Climate Prediction Center was able to focus on the latest climate trends to provide some evidence of how the spring will play out. The lowest confidence is applied to Precip. As you can see on the image on the right, there is a large swath of equal chances for above, below, or normal precip this spring. However, there is a little more confidence in the temperature forecast, especially in the southwest and western U.S. and into the southern plains. For the local area, there just isn't enough strong evidence to hint either way, so we are looking at equal chances for above, below, or normal chances for precip and temperature. While this may sound like it provides little information, it is a good sign that we aren't looking at extremes this spring. Also, based on the current conditions and the outlooks, we do not anticipate drought conditions this spring. Displayed in the bottom table are select cities' average meteorological spring precipitation amounts. Richmond and Norfolk receive right around 23 to 25% of their annual precip during the spring season. Another outlook provided this spring by the Climate Prediction Center is the 2014 spring flood risk. A minor risk exists across southern and southeastern Virginia as well as northeast North Carolina. The flood potential in the mid-Atlantic is mainly driven by individual convective rainstorms that typically develop in the spring. As we saw in previous slides, if we stay on the wet side of normal, moist soils will help enhance this flood risk. Another forecast tool is a point-specific river flooding outlook. The above image is for the Richmond-West Ham river gauge and is a simulation based on historical records and model data of the probabilities of flooding through early May. Minor flooding is highlighted in orange, moderate flooding in red, and major flooding is highlighted in purple. In this simulation, there is a 30 to 40% probability of reaching minor flooding, a 15 to 20% probability of reaching moderate flooding, and only a 2 to 5% chance of reaching major. This is very useful as it puts the previous slide on the flooding outlook and the probabilities of the event actually occurring. More information can be found at the link below, including weekly flood outlooks. In summary, ENSO neutral conditions will prevail, giving us no strong climate indicator this spring. That forces us to watch short-term climate drivers and trends, reducing the predictability of this spring. The result is equal chances for above, below, or normal precipitation and temperatures this spring. Also, remember there is a minor risk for springtime flooding. And with that, we'll wrap up this presentation. Thank you for viewing, and if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to get in touch with any of the folks listed above. I have also included some important links for anyone to follow the latest weather and climate information. Thanks again, and be safe.